Andrea's class of 1991 and is a walking advertisement for the kind of education that goes on here and that Bill just talked about. Andrea and her husband, Sean Fine, who is here tonight, are Academy and Emmy award-winning filmmakers whose films have been called unflinching, spirit-raising, and visually ravishing. Andrea became a filmmaker not because she pursued an undergraduate major or program in the field, but because, as a Colby senior, and I might add, a philosophy major. See, there it is again. She enrolled in the American Dreams course taught by Phyllis Benaki. She found in that elective and her final year in college the spark that would ignite a life's work in which she could use all the habits and tools that her Colby education had helped her to develop. She and Phyllis have stayed close and in close contact ever since, and Andrea came to Colby a few years ago and spoke to the American Dreams class about her then work in progress, the Oscar-winning film Innocente. Andrea, Colby is very proud of you. Thank you for being here with Sean and your extended family. Andrea, next month.
You sort of don't know what it's going to, you don't know how important it'll be until you're here. It's like you don't get it until you're in it, and I think that's kind of how I feel today. In a way, this kind of feels like, anything like makes you self-reflective, weddings, funerals, airplanes, all those things, And this is one of those things. And so I'm sitting here, and what I think about a lot is effort. That's actually the word that's been kind of like dripping through my brain since I've sort of sat down. And I think part of, how I think of a line that sort of strung together to get me here today in some ways. I think of the effort of my parents, who are both here today, Seal and George Nix, who are class 61 and 63. And I never would have, it's all those steps that, you don't think about all the effort until later on, and the efforts of my parents to raise me to figure out how things work and how beautiful they are when they do work. Those are those things that you start to kind of think about later, and they really said, hey, why don't you check out Colby College? And you don't know anything about anything when you're 16, 17 years old, so I ended up here. And I think it was it was like the beginning of my brain, I guess, is what I think about it. I don't remember much about my social life here, which is kind of odd. I turned into kind of a bookworm, but I loved what I started to reveal about what I like to think about. And that's what happened when I was on this campus. And the people's names, I can't remember most people's names, but I remember my professors so well. Like Ira Sadoff and Charlie Bassett, which I'm so sad that he's passed, and Professor Ruman, who was a philosophy professor that blew me away. And then I'm so full of life when I see the people that, Daniel Cohen, where I don't know who he is, but, which I got to see. So, I was a philosophy major, and I changed my major 4 times, when I was here. I started off as health and human development, but they didn't even carry it anymore. And then I started as a biology, and then I was American studies, and then I was philosophy. And it really was about who I was, my brain. I just couldn't figure out what I wanted to focus on, which is why documentary film is perfect. Because you go to the school for the rest of your life. You get to immerse yourself and have the respect and honor to sit across from people and have the chutzpah to ask them, some of the most important things about what they care about, and they'll answer you. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful exchange, and it's about connection. And I think that's what I started to kind of figure out, is like what made me really feel full inside was what happened while I was at this campus. And I loved my classes, and I loved the way it made me think, and I was so lucky because right before I left, I had the honor of being in Professor Phyllis Minocchi's class. It was my second semester senior year, and it was one of those classes that everybody's like, oh, it's the coolest class, you gotta get this. So I was like, okay, I'll try to do that. And Arlene is also here, who she taught it with. And it hooked me right before I got out, because as much as I love philosophy, I knew I wasn't gonna go to graduate school for that. I just all of a sudden got immersed in something that everything kind of clicked. It was inquisitive mindset, it was beauty, it was technical, like know-how, figuring stuff out. It was sitting across from people that you wanted to connect with and ask them things and have them tell you things. And then it was impacting people about what you made. And it was full circle, and I became just obsessed when I took that class. I loved it. And it gave me that little thing right before I left, which was, I knew what I want to do, which is a blessing, because it's really a horrible thing when you're just not sure, especially right before you graduate. Of course, everybody knows who's older, it's fine, but at that time you don't think it is. It's so nice to have something that you just felt like was going to be the rest of your life in a way of just asking questions and meeting people and making something, but I didn't know what it all meant. And then as things go on, when we think about effort, I started to develop what I thought I might want to make films about. And then I met my husband, Sean, who's with me here today. And we found each other, and we met at National Geographic, and we were both very busy with our own films, but we really wanted to come together. And we were married, but we also had this desire to, like, we used to talk about it, it's like creating a nest, those things that you decide to build for in your life. And each film and each important thing you add to that nest. And it's an ability to create something that makes a difference sometimes. And that's also something that I really learned as I started to get older and we became better at what we did. We could make something that mattered and created change. And then we were lucky enough to make films like War Dance about child soldiers in northern Uganda, and there we met Dominic, who's with us, who's become part of it. Yeah, this is all about effort, family. It's all like one big thing. It's all mixed in together, and and then we also at that same time decided to start our own family with young boys, and so now I have like 3 members of the brothers of like the tribe of Fine, which is here with you now. And so I feel like, the films that we make, it's really I feel like I'm still going to school for the rest of my life. I feel really blessed in that way, that I'm able to take on a subject, I'm able to get inside it in a way that feels satisfying on a level of like really understanding something. And then what's really amazing is understanding somebody. And then you feel like you connect with them, and then you create a film, and then you pass that on. And hopefully, if it's a connection that people don't necessarily feel like they understand, or if it's from a geography that doesn't make sense, or if it's a war zone that doesn't make sense, or if it's from extreme circumstances like disease and it doesn't make sense, all of a sudden you make a bridge, and that's what we try to do with our films, is make these bridges. And it's been really beautiful to watch the ripple effect of what's happened with them. So I feel incredibly just full tonight, because I feel this weird line of connective time and things that are important to me, and the growth of who I am as a person, and things that matter to my heart and things that matter to my brain. So I thank you, and I thank you very much for honoring me with this degree. It means quite a bit. And I also, wish you luck in your next endeavor. And he has an apartment in France right now that he's not sure what to do with it. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. And it's just been also an honor tonight to follow. And one of the things I've really enjoyed is what I love sitting in my classes, like all these amazing minds sharing things with you. It's like these buckets that pour into you. And that's what is really beautiful. It's just hearing the different the different like insights and expertise that all the different people that are speaking, I feel like I was in class again and I miss it, you know, and so that's what is really beautiful about tonight that I feel honored also to be a part of, so thank you very much.